Now this is what I like to call lazy sailing. You know, we've got 16 knots of wind from the stern, and we're only doing sort of 2.5 nautical miles today, so basically I've just got the jib up right now. And usually when we're sailing downwind, I put the mainsail up because actually when there's a little bit of swell like this, it keeps the boat a lot more stable. You know, with the mainsail pushing the boat sort of to one side, you don't get the sort of rocking motion like this so much as if you have the jib out. But if you get the jib out, of course, it's very nice and easy just to roll back in again, you know, and yeah, go with lazy sailing.
Look at this rock with different layers in. Almost looks like gold on the other side.
Guys, this is really one of the best views that we've found in the Stockholm archipelago, up this mountain thing. I really didn't know this existed. You know, we had the choice of 2 anchorages, one over there around the corner and this one. Definitely glad we picked this one. It's awesome. This must be a Viking boat, honey. But there are propellers back in Viking days as well. Check this out, guys. It's an old winch to winch the boats up. It's very spooky around here. There's a lot of old things for sure, like outboard graveyard around here.
We didn't find a fish shop. Don't actually think it's a real shop, but the family that lives here has been living here for, I think it's around 200 years, and all been fishing. So it's a very traditional place, and they own the whole peninsula out here, which is amazing.
Wow, that's a proper fish trap. Well, we're back on the boat. It's a nice walk, actually. It's a nice evening as well. Anyway guys, the sun has just come out and we had a wonderful walk earlier actually. But today we decided just to not barbecue, to be honest, and just have a nice spaghetti bolognese down here. And yeah, being as we've got a full state of charge now in the batteries, we can start using the induction cooker again. Yeah, she's drawing between 1,000 and 1,500 watts once the plates have warmed up with the induction cooker there, and the batteries are handling it just fine. The only thing that we've really got to be careful on this boat is that with the way that I've wired it, is that the water heater is also on the same AC system, which is the way that I kind of want it anyway, to be honest, because if we're out for short weekends or something like that, we can run the water heater on the lithium batteries and just keep the water warm all the time once it's warmed up from the engine anyway. So just gotta remember to turn this switch off, which we forgot to do about 5 minutes ago.
No, I forgot to.
So yeah, we lost like 5% of battery just by warming some water up. Well, good morning guys. For us, it's a little bit of a shitty morning, to be honest, literally. If you have a dog on a boat, then be prepared for some accidents. And we left it a little too long this morning, and Ollie had a bit of a bit of an accident
And a bad stomach.
And we've got to solve this problem now. But this duvet, I mean, it's just saturated. We can't save it, so we're just gonna dump it in the locker and then get rid of it. Don't like doing that. It's not very environmentally friendly, but what can you do? I know. You got a bad stomach, buddy. So this morning we're gonna head northeast. I'm just gonna go up to the top of the hill maybe again in a minute, do some droning and then come back down, and then we leave. I'm just charging the little drone now, you know, and this is my little charging station kind of thing down here. I like to drop little tips when I think about it, because you don't always think about everything, right, when you're making the videos based on a certain subject or whatever. But one good thing what I've thought about here is that with two inverters, now the reason why we had this inverter installed in the first place was because I actually ordered an inverter originally and then cancelled it, realizing that I'll probably put an inverter in later on anyway. But there was a mistake in the order and the inverter got added anyway, but they didn't charge for it. So I've got two inverters here, but one great thing about that is that this is a smaller inverter on here. And if you just want to charge one thing, or, you know, without turning on the big inverter, because half the time when you've got a big inverter running, you've got things like constantly plugged in, ready to charge when you go on shore power. So you don't have to go around the boat unplugging everything and doing all that, you know. You can just turn on one inverter and then use the least amount of power possible when charging one thing. One thing you've also got to look out for in the archipelago out here is fästning, or ticks. And it's better to get these out with a little tool. It's just a little plastic tool like this, and then it takes out the legs as well, you know, rather than, or the head, sorry, the pincers, or. And
still alive.
Yeah, of course it's still alive. Little bastards. You do have the option to, I think, inject them and put some drops on them as well. But we've found the collar works really well. Yeah, look at this, guys. There's a real mess in this right now. We have a lot of stuff with us, you know, and when we do eventually travel around the world, we realise now exactly how small this boat is to get everything in there, you know. One thing that we would do before we leave one day is to stock up on a lot of spare parts, and this will take up a lot of room in there as well. So even in a 40-foot boat with two people, you've got to scale things down a bit. Well, those were super nice guys actually, and that is one awesome way to store a dinghy on the back. You know, you don't even need to take the engine off there. I don't think we can make the same solution on this one, but I can have a think about it at least. But it's good to see that a Hansa 400, about 10 years old, has really kept its looks quite well. You know, the gel coat on these Hansas is really good quality, I think. And then came the time to leave this beautiful place, and what you can probably hear here is the engine is running at quite high revs. And this is because while the engine is running and while it's producing electric from the alternator, I like to get the maximum from that alternator. So if I run it at more than 1500 RPM, I'm getting the most cooling possible on the alternator and the most power from it as well. And also, as the stern windlass is connected to the starter battery, if you run the alternator and power up the system, it ensures that when the windlass is working hard to lift the anchor, there'll be limited voltage drop. Are you done? Hello. What an absolutely cracking sail, guys. Still got the wind from the south, fairly strong. Really awesome. Just gonna sail straight there today, 6 knots all the way, 6, 7. Brilliant. So we're just rounding the top of Ornö now, and it's such a big island actually, you know, so we have to come around this way and then start heading out to sea. And the next couple of days are going to be a bit dicey with the weather, in regard that it's raining, and it's a bit blowy and a bit rainy and everything, so we're going to try and find a really nice spot to spend, you know, potentially a couple of days, and preferably with a toilet nearby as well. Not essential, but we always look for those kind of things as well, so we don't have to fill up the holding tank, you know. But at the moment we're just sailing down this channel, and we're just dodging boats really, because they're all tacking up, you know, and we're the ones with the better maneuverability, and there's another one right now that I need to avoid. Sort of right in front of us, that I need to do something about. What? But you know, heading downwind, it's nice and easy just to help these guys heading upwind. While filming something then, this peninsula here snuck up on me a little bit there, so always got to pay attention to what you're doing, right? Boat comes first, YouTube second. So right now Tanya's just below, and we're just doing some vacuuming and things like that. I'm sort of sorting things out up here as well. And it's a nice time to do it when you can sail downwind, because the boat's nice and flat, it's very relaxed. And we can do all the chores while we're on the way. You know, because the problem can be that you want to get everything sorted out before you leave. And that means that you're going to get to the next place later and you might not get a good spot. So it's always nice if we can get out of the anchorage and get things sorted along the way. Oh yeah, it's pretty strong, 17 knots. When we round the top of Ornö here, we definitely may need to look at reefing some sails. As soon as we start going upwind, it's going to hit us, that's for sure. Now this is interesting, guys, because we don't do a lot of sailing just with the mainsail actually. Usually we have the jib fully out and the main reefed. So it's kind of cool to see actually how much work the main actually does. And a lot of sailors out there will never go to an in-mast furling system. But if you've got a good wind on this sail, she's going to go nicely. I mean, right now we've got 14 knots of wind, and just with the main we're doing 6.2 knots. Now this, guys, is a tricky little decision, because as we bear round towards the wind, the boat is going to get more and more heeled over, and to pass through small passages like the one coming up now, you see that in front? If the boat heels over and rounds up at any point, I could be endangering the boat. And this is a bit of a judgment call, because I know that the water looks very flat up there. It looks pretty calm, and we've got the island creating some protection as well, so I know I'm not going to get overpowered through this passage. But it's just something to think about, right? Just don't take unnecessary risks around the Stockholm archipelago, because if you end up hitting a rock with a full sail up, it's not fun times, as you know from the history of this channel. As I was saying, the island provides a lot of protection, but the winds start coming around the other way. But this place in here, it's kind of a little secret spot. Nice.
This is the island of Motorbundsön. As you might remember, we went here a couple of times last year, and this is where there is the house with the nickname the Eagle's Nest. Quite cool to see it from the other side.
Is that life-saving buddies?
Your räddningstjänst.
Yay!
Yay!
Well guys, we're almost at our destination now. Just 1.5 nautical miles to go, but the time is almost 4 o'clock, so we'll see whether we actually get a spot somewhere nice in there. Hopefully. It's a really good example of where we would use the forward scan around this archipelago here. And you can see that I'm navigating between these rocks, but I'm also using the forward scan as like a secondary. It's like a backup as well, and I know more or less what's coming up ahead. About 16 meters in front of the boat now. It's a really useful thing to have. It's not always perfect, but right now it's really good. Sometimes it's nice to give yourself a little bit of time when you get to the destination just to do a little bit of exploring, because you might not know exactly where you want to go. We found a few secret spots like this because everybody follows the book and an app called Enero per Juan, which shows you all the well-known and well-marked places. This time we were a little bit unsuccessful in finding that secret, secluded spot just to ourselves, as the depths were a little bit too shallow in some places and it was a little bit too exposed to some wind as well. Nevertheless, we found a beautiful spot up in northern Söderö. We were going to anchor a little place at the south part of Söderö, and it was a nice place, very secluded, but maybe not quite as protected as this place. You know, maybe not quite as good of a sunset either, which I think we'll get tonight. It should be great. But on the other hand, when you go to the beautiful places where everyone knows about, you know, there's always something. Now, to be fair, we don't mind the kids too much with their dinghies and stuff like that. I used to do it all the time when I was younger, but when the kids are going round and round in circles, just creating waves right outside the back of your boat, it's not the greatest thing in the world. But anyway, I don't think I've ever shown you the Lithium installation yet, and like I said, I will do a video on this in the future. But here it is. It's the power heart of Aurora, apart from the engine, but the electrical heart of Aurora. And each of these are 200 amp hours in Victron smart lithium batteries. And yeah, I'll explain what all the components are and everything later on in another video, but it's made a world of difference getting lithium batteries on the boat, that's for sure. I mean, we don't have to worry about stressing the batteries or anything. We just take the power that we want when we want it, and yeah, we do get to the bottom, but we need more solar panels to compensate. I have seen a few people just directly drop lithium batteries in a boat that's had AGM or lead acid batteries before, and this is probably not the best way forward. You know, you need to really calculate what the engine can produce and all the wires and everything like that. You need sort of a full review on your electrical system before you install lithium batteries, otherwise you may end up in some problems, or in the worst case a potential fire. So yeah, do your research before installing lithium batteries for sure. You can end up burning out alternators very quickly, and maybe even causing fires with wires that are too small for the amperage. This is actually a super beautiful anchorage. Although we say that about every single place, but there are some more special places than normal special places. What are you doing, honey?
Changing the music.
Oh. Have you taken over my music?
Yes, I have.
Well, guys, beautiful dinner on the go here. And who doesn't love a single cylinder 4-stroke engine to listen to in the background? Yay! But the steak's gonna be great.
I love it with all these small, flat, rocky islands in sort of its own little archipelago. So much to see and just amazing.
Let me tell you, this is such a beautiful anchorage, and if the clouds part, you'll get a beautiful sunset on the water. The anchorage is quite well protected from a southerly wind, which is what we were expecting all night long. However, from the west, which is the direction we're facing right now, we're very exposed actually, and we were just about to find that out the hard way. Luckily, I'd already put a spring on the starboard side of the boat to the rocks, so this helped a great deal. You can see at first all is stable with a steady southerly wind. However, around midnight we got slammed to the side from that westerly wind. It came from nowhere. Unfortunately, this was the only footage I got from the time lapse. Yeah, so there was a sudden squall come through or something like that, and all of a sudden we had 25 knots on the broadside, I think, by the feel of it. The boat was heeled over and the anchor slipped on the back, I think, and we started rubbing against the rocks on the front, and I got out and, you know, we tightened the anchor up as fast as we could, and yeah, we got another line on there now, and we've tried to bring the boat a little further away from the rocks. But many people have been having the same problem. Everybody's been out on the other boats knocking in pegs and lines and stuff, you know, and some boats had to pull out, I saw, on the other side of the anchorage, so that was really random, and let's see what happens tonight. Let's see if we can sleep after that, you know, but we might be on a little anchor watch with one half eye open. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. We really appreciate your comments as well on the videos. We hope you learned something, hope it was a good video to watch. I'll see you next time.